Yeah. Well, you know, I was thinking this morning that you and I, we've been doing this a lot. What did we clock in? Like 6 hours yesterday? That was a lot. I know. Oh, I definitely know. It's like I feel it. I actually feel it. What you're saying to me is that it's good for me. That's what I'm saying. I know. Well, this is just, you want me to reiterate it again, that this is for posterity. You know what I miss? That nanny. I would like to see her again. Well, because I wanna push my boundaries and start a conversation with her. So what's the intention with this one? You know, I had a thought before, but I don't know if I wanted to. Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember. Ooh. Well, first we gotta get cigarettes. I'm being reminded of Rabbi Zalman's Tanya. I started chapter 42. I started chapter 42 last night. But then... But... I'm talking to God, by the way. This is just me recording a conversation. Me recording conversations with God. Which is funny that that today's portion of Tanya was what it was, because what happened yesterday? Yesterday at the end of chapter 41, Rabbi Zalman was going on about how we need to have intention behind our study regimen. Like, what's the intention of the study that we're doing? But then to also be mindful of the hours of the day, because each hour of the day specializes in something specific. So it would be wise to be more learned on how that works. But in doing so, he said also to be mindful to take some time during the study day to reflect. To reflect on the studies. It sounds easy enough, right? Hold on. Assalamu alaikum.
How are you?
Doing good. Can I have 2 of the yellow Cheyenne and 2 of the green? That's it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Have a good day.
You too, my friend. From my pockets.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Six minutes. Oh, hit him. All right, Shaba. What are we thinking? Reflecting on what we've been learning. Turn. So be mindful of the hours of the day, because he was just teasing the idea of planetary hours. But it makes sense. Like I get it. What he was trying to say. That each of the 12 hours is designated to the 12 combinations of the ineffable name. But then if we overlay that with the planetary hours, then each day of every week certain hours are gonna have a different feel to them, depending on what day it is. Like Saturday does not feel like Wednesday, does not feel like Monday. And I can relate to that. If I think back to my old life, when I was living on someone else's schedule. Like I remember the feeling that I had on Sunday night. Sunday night did not feel like Friday night. Friday night did not feel like Monday morning. Oh my God, how much I hated that life. It was so dreadful. Thank you, Lord. For what? For taking me away from all that. Being a full-time employee versus being a full-time employee for a company, someone else's company, is way different than being a full-time employee of yours. Because with an alarm clock. Oh my God. But anyway. We can get back into that though. But I wanted to reflect on what I just got out of this latest portion of Tanya, which was well, it began by talking about the simplicity of the fear of you, which got me thinking that it's not simple. What does fearing God mean? Like, that's not, like, it's not such a simple concept that we just go, well, it's just, you gotta fear God. What? What do you mean? It doesn't mean to be afraid of God. It just means to fear God. To fear God more than I fear other shit. To fear you more than I fear being rejected or making a fool out of myself. Fear God more than you fear dying. Because ultimately, all of those other things that I'm afraid of, only you have the power to make them happen. And what would I have to do to offend you so greatly that you would let that type of stuff happen to me? You know what I mean? It makes me more mindful of my behavior, my actions. And then on the flip side, it's not necessarily negative fear, it's positive fear. If you encourage me, if you give me an opportunity to do something that makes me fear the idea of being embarrassed or being rejected, and I don't do it, why didn't I do it? Because I was afraid of that thing. Because I was afraid of the outcome. Right? Because how many things do people not do in their life because they're afraid of the outcome of what might happen, so they don't do anything at all? When fearing you more than I feared the outcome is supposed to be encouragement for me to take the action and not give a shit about what the outcome might be. Dude. So if I don't do something because I'm afraid of the outcome, then what? Then someone else is going to do it. Maybe. Or I'm going to kick myself in the ass for not doing it, and the next time a similar opportunity comes around, it's going to remind me of why I didn't do it the first time. Oh, because I was afraid of what was going to happen. All right, well, am I still afraid of that thing? Am I not willing to do something because I'm afraid of what might happen or what might not happen? Was that the art of detaching from an outcome? Which reminds me of the teaching. The reward for doing a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. Yeah, and you know what that reminds me of when I first formed the Toxic Order LLC. People don't take a risk if the reward is not worth it. Well, if it's not a guarantee that there's a reward that comes out of it, but the reward for taking a risk is the taking of the risk. It's like walking on hot coals. Not that I ever walked on hot coals, but I understand the concept of it. I jumped off the porch once with my eyes closed and trusted that I was going to land on my feet and not fall on my ass. And it's just like any kind of leap of faith. But that's where you come in. Because when you give me an opportunity to take a leap of faith, I take it. But when I think back on the course of my life and all of those leaps of faith that I did take, I didn't always rely on you the way that I do now. And I could see how if I had been in a similar mindset back then, when I did take those leaps, how things could have turned out a lot better. Or different. Better isn't always different. Different isn't always better. But then we have to come back to the fact that some things are written in stone more securely than others. So we have to then trust that what happened because that was what was supposed to happen. Even when things seemed like they were fucking falling apart and they were at their worst, that was actually the best case scenario. Because God forbid things went differently. And then even now I'm thinking about that car crash. If that was worst case scenario, if that was best case scenario, what was worst case scenario? I could have died. That would have been a lot worse. Or I would have went through the fucking windshield. Again, way worse than what happened. I much prefer that things played out the way that they did than how they didn't work out. And given what I remember about the rest of the night, it's a good thing that I got separated from the rest of the gang, because God forbid, I kept on pursuing what I was pursuing and trying to have sex with that girl and her mom, that lady and her mom. Meanwhile, my fucking wife's at home waiting for me. Hey. I'm being reminded of last night's video and last night's Omar count. The Tiferet of Gevurah. Compassionate discipline. unconditional love is compassion. So So it came back to my ex-wife and her family. And last night, I think we did a really good job at tapping into having compassion for them and showing it and demonstrating it too. But then this morning when I woke up, and thank you, by the way, for that, because I really needed that. I could see how that could get in the way of the future. Because the way you show it to me is similar to the way that you showed it to Abraham. You kept telling him that he was going to have a nation, he was going to have a child, and 80 years later, finally, wow, yeah. It wasn't 100 until he had Isaac. But even his first son, he had to give up his first son. He had to give up on his first son and trust you that he was going to become exactly what he became. And thanks to Ishmael, we have Islam, right? Because the book of Islam is the only book that really puts any kind of real emphasis on Ishmael as a power player in this whole thing. But this morning when I woke up and I was thinking about the whole compassion and showing compassion to those people that we showed reproach, it got me thinking about these past couple days when I've been out here like busting the balls of the rabbis and the priests and the imams and the sheiks and the Muslims and the other Jews and the Christians. Going on my rants about being the Mashiach. I'm your fucking boss now. I'm not demonstrating the disciplined compassion towards those people that they deserve, because I constantly forget. I criticize how the rabbis do things, what they do, what they don't do. Then I criticize the Catholics, and I've even been criticizing the Muslims. Like I was saying yesterday I was talking to my brother's girlfriend, remember? She's a Muslim, but she's never read the Quran. And how by definition, a Muslim, by definition, in the Quran itself, a Muslim is someone who has submitted themselves to God. Not just someone who calls himself a Muslim. Like it got me thinking, I'm more Muslim than this chick. I'm more Jew than Jew. And I'm definitely more Catholic than a Catholic, because I don't put Jesus above me. I don't put anyone above me. And even in today's portion of Tanya, like Moses was the hot topic. And Rabbi was going on about how in every generation the divine sparks of Moses wake up within the souls of the sages. and again, that's putting Moses above us. Like, no, it's not that Moses is above me. And I know that. I know that any Jew would agree with me. It's like it's not that Moses is above anyone. But what he did was so great. But now at the same time, and this goes with Jesus too, is I could do better than that. I could do that. Because what Rabbi Zalman was saying, and I like that, I love this actually, because he said he pointed out how Moses is one of the 7 shepherds. Not exactly a patriarch, but he was a mover and a shaker. He made shit happen. But I don't know if in the yeshiva schools, they teach the young Orthodox boys, you could be like Moses. You have it in you. Or maybe you don't. I don't know. And that's where I get all twisted up, because the way I see it is either you have it or you don't have it. But that's not even a fair assessment, because there was a time in my life where I said I didn't have it. But now I can look back and go, oh yeah, I had it the whole time. My whole life has been dedicated outside of my own awareness that you've been preparing me to do greater things than Jesus, but then also do greater things than Moses. Because like Rabbi Zalman said about Moses, is that Moses was the sum of all of the guys who came before him. He was Joseph, he was Jacob, he was Aaron, he was Isaac, he was Abraham, he was Adam, he was Noah. And that's the way, and why that resonated so much with me, because that's how I see me. I see me, you show me. There was something at the Holy Thursday Mass, right? And it said, God saw Jesus like Adam. And I went, what? The fuck? Because that's exactly what the conversation that you and I had. You show me that you see me as the sum of all those guys, including Yeshua Rabbeinu and the Prophet Muhammad. But also Joseph and Moses and the patriarchs and David and Solomon. But then even thinking about going back to the Tiferet of Gevurah, having compassion for those people that I would normally reproach, but at the same time, you're also telling me to have compassion for the aspects of myself that I would normally have reproach. So let's take everyone else out of the equation, because everyone else is just a reflection of me. Yeah? Just like I'm a reflection of you, as Rabbi Jacobson said. I like that idea. So you can see inside of me in the places that I can't see. So you know which aspects of myself that I am still harboring resentment towards. And even on the flip side, you know what aspects of me are holding resentments against me now. Because I'm sure there's parts of me on the inside that are hiding out somewhere that don't want to be doing this. They don't want to be doing the other stuff. And they just want to go back to having some kind of semblance of a normal life, not realizing that's not even a possibility anymore because of the fact that everything that we thought was, quote, a normal life is bullshit. It's all predicated on lies. And there's nothing I can do about it. It's not like there's anyone to blame except for you. Because human development has followed the course that you laid out for it, whether we want to admit it or not. Technology has evolved exactly in the way that you needed it to evolve, because it could have got a lot worse. The fact that we haven't blown ourselves up by now is a good sign. But now my mind is going back to Rabbi Jesus and feeding the 5,000 and the 4,000 with some fish and bread. Like, what if he had a social media account? He would be able to feed the entire world just on his own with no help. He wouldn't even need disciples. The only reason he needed disciples was because he was working a small plot of land. In the grand scheme of the whole of the world, he was only covering a small amount. In terms of place, in terms of general place, he was only in a few specialized places. And it's not until his death that he spread out even further, to the point today where there's 8 billion or there's 1 billion Catholics that bow down to Jesus Christ. But what if he had a social media? What if he had this in his time? Then we wouldn't need to have this conversation. But he was a stepping stone. He was a paver of the way, so that today we can do what he couldn't do. That he literally had the technological and physical incapabilities of performing on his own. So he wasn't all that great. He was great for his time. But so is true with Joseph, and so is true with Moses, so is true with all the patriarchs. David, Solomon, and Solomon, I mean, we can get on about how this one fucked up or that one fucked up, how the nation fell, but in the grand scheme of things, everything played out exactly the way that you needed it to play out. We want XYZ, but your plan is ZYX. Like, but that's why every generation has those sparks of Moses that wake up in the sages. But are there sages anymore? Do those guys exist anymore? I don't see so. I mean, I listen to rabbis talk, and yeah, some of them are wise. They say wise things. I get it. It's like, okay, I didn't think about it like that before, but especially when I relate these things back to myself and my own experiences, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that I hadn't considered before. Rabbi Zolman, for instance, talking about the Sephirot of Das, knowledge. He went on to say that underneath the surface, like we get the idea of knowledge, but knowledge also has a connotation that's related to union. And he goes on to use the example of Adam and Eve, where Adam knew Eve. They came together. So, but then he also threw in Eloho, the higher learning, higher knowledge, which is relative to the 10 Sephirot of the world of Yetzirah, the highest world of Yetzirah, which where that higher knowledge exists. Because each world has its own set of 10 Sephirot. The Yetzirah. No, absolute, that's what it was. Absolute, Binah, Yetzirah, Asaya. And then each world has its own variation. Well, it has its own degrees and ranks of the 10 Sephirot. So all of that knowledge, so there's 4 separate dots. And each one represents a level of higher learning that is one rank above the next. Right? I'm understanding this right. Right? The dot of Asaya, which is the lowest world, would be knowledge of the material world. And then the dot of Yetzirah would be higher knowledge, maybe more spiritual in nature, higher level thinking. But then we go into the dot of Binah. Is it not Binah? Beria, right? Because it's Asiya, Yetzirah, Beria, and then Absolute, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, 7 years. How do you think I'm doing so far with 7 years? Because I remember 7 years ago is when I decided, is when I really felt the call that I needed to understand Kabbalah, the Kabbalah. I was thinking about this before we walked out, as I was reflecting on the Tiferet of Gevurah, compassionate discipline, the compassion of discipline, disciplined compassion. When I was thinking about that, but then all of last week, we were covering Chesed and how that relates to love and the different levels of love, the different ranks, the different degrees, the different attributes. Yeah, sometimes I feel like memorize, when I think a lot of people just memorize stuff, but there's not really much personal experience that goes into understanding, because I got my brother's girlfriend in my head. I got this sense that she thinks that she knows me. She said something last night that I caught. What did she say? Well, no, she just said, I was thanking her for the chat that we had the other night. And then she started giving me advice on how to deal with things. And I'm laughing in my head because it's like, yeah, maybe one day I'll show you all the books I got. I'll teach you a thing or two about a thing or two. And it's just been in my head because she said, well, if I ever go overstep a boundary, just let me know. And immediately the first thing that popped in my head was, all right, so she's holding shit in. because the way that I'm feeling it is that she has a preconceived notion of me based on something or some things that my brother had said to her. Because the day I met her, I told her something about myself and she already knew. And it became clear to me that she and he talk about me behind my back. Whether positive or negative or not, I'm not sure. But when I said the thing about myself, it was something very simple. It was just about how I worked for Hugo Boss for a time. Worked with Hugo Boss. She had this like solemn look on her face, like she knew something. Because the impression I got from her last night, because she said that she's been praying for me, which I don't like, and I probably should have said that to her. Don't pray for me. Do not pray for me. Why? Because you're gonna end up putting a curse. You're gonna end up accidentally. You're not even gonna realize it, but you're gonna curse me, and because of God, it's gonna bounce back at you. Because I don't know, like when people pray for other people, oh, I hope they have good health. I hope they have this. Yeah, but you know what? That person might be in their head. They might be perfect. That might be perfect. There might be nothing wrong with that person. You know? Like, my life is perfect right now. Because everything in my life right now, right, is predicable of where I'm at in the future. That future could be tomorrow, it could be next week, next year, but everything we're doing right now is preparing us for what we're doing tomorrow. If I'm a reflection of you and you're omnipresent, meaning that you're in the past, present, and the future, then so am I. I'm in my own past, I'm in my present, and I'm in my future. Yeah, but nobody knows if you're gonna die tomorrow. I'm not worried about that. Why should I be worried about whether or not I'm gonna fucking wake up in the morning? What am I doing that's gonna get me killed? What am I doing that's gonna die? The only person that can kill me is God. Even if a mob of people came storming back here, tied me to a tree and stoned me to death, it's because that's what God needed. I'm not saying I'll do my best to enjoy it. It's gonna be difficult, but I saw how Rabbi Jesus took it. Rabbi Jesus took it fucking like a champion. I like to believe that I have that same potential within myself, that if someone were to tie me to a tree and fucking stone me to death, or nail me to a fucking cross, I would take it with great humility and trust that the future is gonna benefit from it. I might not like it, but again, something we learned with Yeshua Rabbeinu, thank you my Lord, is that there is such thing as resurrection. Like, I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm now convinced, and this is a message I want to send to all of the predicable Derricks from the past, which is immortality is a lot easier than we realize. It's not impossible. Now, the physical body may not be immortal, but what's inside of it, the essence of it, is. I mean, right now, I'm thinking about a descendant of mine from 24,000 years in the future, and he's thinking back, and he's seeing my face. He's thinking back on the long line of Pignotaros that led to him and put him on the throne at the center of the universe. And all those hundreds and thousands of generations of Pignotaros that preceded him. And it all comes back to me. Because I am the atom of the generation of human beings that have spread out throughout the universe 24,000 years from now. Just like in Dune. Dune's good inspiration. What are your aspirations? Well, to repopulate the universe so that this current generation of human beings eventually extincts itself, so that my descendants outnumber the rest of humanity until finally the rest of humanity has just faded away. And that all that's left, the only humans that are left, all have a direct lineage back to me. But because we're in a different age, a different time than what with Adam, they'll be able to have the technology and insightfulness to be able to know instead of have to debate. The debate will be done. Because we're having this is part of the Great Reset. Nobody can accept, not everybody can accept the idea of Adam and Eve, or Noah, or the lines of Noah. I mean, we have Jews today, Muslims, and Catholics who don't really believe all this stuff. As is part of their belief system, they maintain it however the hell they do. Sometimes they just put on a mask, even though the person behind the mask is not who they present themselves to be. But that's where you and I are working so that I don't have to wear a mask ever. Like even yesterday with Twisa, is like, she's observant, I know, but so am I. I'm just as observant as you are. And I notice like you're wearing a mask because I know whoever you are outside this house is not who you are on the inside of the house. Because you put on this very overtly obvious mask when my mom's around. But I seen you. I seen the real you. And not to mention, you're a little sister. I'd probably have a much better conversation with your older sister. But you're also a little sister who's dating my little brother. You know? He's 10 years younger than me. You're 10 years younger than him. So we got a 20-year age gap. And you think you're going to fucking tell me who I am? You asked me one good question. Don't give yourself a pat on the back. That was God speaking through you. Because God needed me to fucking recognize that. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Because something I learned is that God acts through other people. When someone does something good for you, that's God. That's God rewarding you. That's literally God put them on a path. So that you would be exactly who I needed you to be, exactly when I needed you to be that person. That doesn't mean you're always going to be that way. One of the more challenging things to grasp and hold on to, and this is something I have on my phone, when my phone alarms go off, they're telling me shit. Because I set those alarms specifically to remind me and put me back into that mindset, because it requires training and discipline. But one of the alarms that goes off is a reminder, your family are NPCs. They're higher level NPCs than other people, but they're only there just to fill up space. They're only there to do God's will. They don't realize it. But now, I'm not saying we could argue that the same is true for them. There's no reason why it's not. Like even my brother's girlfriend, like she's just an NPC that just kind of came into my world. Like, she doesn't exist when she's not there. Maybe in here, because she did get into my head. And I think that's part of the reason why we needed to come out here too. That was another reason I wanted to come out here, is like I want to clear that energy out. Because one, you're my brother's girlfriend. You're not my girlfriend. The conversations you want to have with me are the conversations you probably should be having with him. So don't get that all mixed up. And the same goes with like my sister. I don't even talk to my sister anymore. It's not that it's not that I don't want to have a relationship with my sister. I'm just indifferent. I'm indifferent. I just notice trends every time I talk to my sister where she doesn't care about anything I have to say. She has no interest in what I'm talking about. So that leaves it up to me to just sit there and listen to her. And as much as I like being an ear for her, I also have to recognize you got a husband. Why are you having this conversation with me? Have the conversation with him. Because to be perfectly honest, I don't care. I'm just doing a service to God by being an ear for you to talk to. Because you're bored. Because you're bored and you have no one to talk to. But that's your own fault though. Because I gave you advice, you just chose not to listen to it. And if you don't remember what it was, I can't help you there. I can't keep track of I'm not your manager. You chose to be a corporate employee. You chose to marry someone with no inhibitions. With no ambitions. I can't help it. And the same thing that goes for my mom and my brother's girlfriend. Is like, you guys got yourselves hooked up with these dudes who don't have any drive. But then you look at me, and I'm taking my mom out of this equation. I'm taking my mom out of this one. Because I feel like my mother's the only person that actually kind of understands me. But not even fully to the full extreme. I'm still understanding me. I don't fully understand me. So I can't be pissed off at anyone for not understanding me. Because I'm still learning. Well, how long does it take to learn? What are you talking about? I've already done all the things. I'm doing my best to reconcile the past 7 years, so that I can let go of everything prior to 2018. So right now, Hashem, thank you for helping me with this. Thank you for guiding me down this path. Because I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I have reconciled my entire life from 1980 to 2018. I have no regrets. I'm grateful for every single thing that happened. Now, the aspects of my life that are giving me problems, like last night, losing all my shit on my, because it's been coming up a lot, is this resentment towards my ex-wife and her family and my son. But all of that is predicated on events that took place in 2018, which is fine. I have to recognize that those elements of 2018 within myself, they're still stuck in the past. They haven't made it this far yet. I have to bring up to this higher world, this higher level of thinking. I couldn't think and see things the way that I see them now, right? I was still trying to make sense of what the fuck is going on. Now I have sense of it. But now I have to go back to the past and bring that sense to those elements of myself. So, and that's why I have all those fucking journals written down. So right now, the shepherd, thank you, the good shepherd, what I'm doing is I'm shepherding my past self in 2018 up until I only have a few more weeks to go. Because I have to go back to my past and review it with my current eyes, with my current mindset, so that I can recognize where I was wrong in the past and where I was right. What I can let go of, what I need to hold on to, because some things, it's not possible to let go of everything. Some things are just set in stone. It's just that my perception of what took place isn't necessarily what really took place. I didn't start writing until June 3rd, 2018. So everything prior to that day is kind of a little bit fuzzy. It's not as clear as the past 7 years. Everything from everything from June 3rd up until today, I can see with crystal clarity because I wrote everything down. I know what happened to me. I know what I experienced over the past 7 years. Right? One of the benefits of writing things down is we get through the emotional blocks, we get through all the mental blocks of what's keeping us from remembering those experiences. Not to mention that those experiences also trigger past wounds that have to be come up and dealt with. So we can look back over the past 7 years and I can give you almost with crystal clarity where I was and what I was doing and who I was doing it with at any particular time. I may not be able to do it not always, but there's a few things coming to my mind right now, like just crystal clear visions of these experiences where I can go, oh yeah, I remember that. But the idea right now for me is just to make it to June 3rd. Because once we make it to June 3rd and we're at that 7 year, why are we working in cycles of 7 years? I don't know. That's a God question. 7 days of the week, 7 luminaries, 7 notes of music, seven fucking colors in the rainbow. 7 equals 28. 7 equals 1 lunar cycle. I'm remembering Philo of Alexandria, Rabbi Philo, and what he was going on about with 7. And why 7 is such like a magical number because there is such mystery that's encoded within the element of the number 7. Not just 7 units, not just the integer of 7, but the abstract nature of what 7 represents throughout the natural universe. Why is 7 such a consistent number? Why is 7 such a consistent number? You know? But then we even come back to the laws of Torah, where just like we have the 19-year Metonic cycle, there's the 7-year sabbatical cycle. So in Torah law, just like the 7th day is the Sabbath, the 7th year, every 7th year is a sabbatical year. No farming is allowed, no work is allowed. Really, the sabbatical year is really just take a year off. Take a year off, do not plant anything, do not sow any seeds, do not do anything. Just enjoy what you have created for yourself. Enjoy the life that God has given you to enjoy for a whole year. If you place your trust in me, Hashem, if we place our trust in you, the yield, the harvest of the 6th year will be blessed. It will be so blessed that it will generate enough produce to keep us sustained for 3 years. On the 8th year, which is the first year of the next sabbatical cycle. On the 8th year is when we can sow the seeds again. Because even the land needs to be allowed to take a break. The land itself needs to rejuvenate itself. All the work animals need to rejuvenate themselves. So everyone's taking a fucking break. You take a year off. No working. And it's every 7 years. I'm coming up to my 7th year in service to you. And the messages I'm getting have been very clear that this next year is all this other shit that I'm doing is being put on the back burner. Because once we reconcile, once we can shepherd in Derek, 2018 Derek, right? Because every single day, right now, I was doing something in 2018 today. Whatever I was doing on this day in 2018 is predicable of what I'm doing right now. So I owe it to myself to go back and recognize, back then I was a little more hopeless. Back then I couldn't see such a clear and positive future. I wasn't sure. I was very unsure about things. I was still struggling with a lot of doubt. Do you understand? So I have an opportunity now to look back and reflect on everything that happened in my life with the starting point of 7 years ago today. April 23rd? April 23rd. I don't remember exactly what it is I was doing, but tomorrow is my ex-wife's birthday. And 7 years ago, on her birthday, that was the last birthday that I celebrated with her. And we didn't celebrate. I didn't do anything for her birthday. I think I ordered a pizza. And I thought about it, and I felt bad about it. I remember feeling bad about not doing anything for her birthday. But at the same time, there was like this weird thing inside of me that's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She doesn't even care. Even if you did something for her, she wouldn't appreciate it because she's so over this right now. Because I was already aware that my marriage was ending. It was 2 months. 2 months had passed at this point, right? March, April. So almost 2 months have passed at this point since my sister's wedding in 2018. 3 months had passed since I found out that my wife had put herself back on the market using a private Facebook account to get attention from men and even give them attention as well. So while we were on vacation, my original intention was I'm going to spend this time to kind of rebuild my relationship with my wife and my son. But after I found out that she was putting herself back on the market, I realized, you know what? No. I'm going to focus on me because that's what I need to do right now. I need to focus on me. I can't be who they need me to be if I am not the me that I need me to be. This is the most selfless act of selfishness ever. Right? Rabbi Jesus said, in order to be my disciple, you have to hate your mother, your father, you got to hate your brother and sister, you got to hate your child and your wife, and you even have to hate your own life. I know exactly what he's talking about. I know exactly what he's talking about. Because you have to be willing to let go of everything. And you can't let go of shit that you hate. That you don't hate. Because you have to ask yourself, why do I hate everybody? I need to take some time for me. I need to get back to me. I got to find out who the fuck I am. And it's not like it's either too late or too soon. No. Everything happens exactly the way that it has to happen. You know? But I remember in California, that was, I was just being me. And she said something to me that offended the shit out of me. Not to mention that she was being incredibly antisocial with my family. Everybody kind of figured that she was high and doing other shit because she was disappearing and she was coming back all loopy-doopy. Mind you, she's probably just being herself. Who the hell knows? She's probably going through the same exact thing that I was going through, but we just couldn't recognize it. You know? But I said to her, go the fuck home. If you don't like it, go the fuck home, because I can have a lot more fun. I can have a lot more fun if you aren't here. But at that point, that's when I realized, like, my marriage is done. It's only a matter of time. And this birthday of hers on 2018 was kind of the manifestation of that insight, which was, we're not gonna be married for that much longer. Which was good. I never wanted to be married in the first place. Which I'd made known. It's not, we only got married because I was trying to save money. Because money was such a big part, was the motivator for everything in my life. If I didn't have to make money, I wouldn't have been doing any of the things that I did. I would be doing what I'm doing right now if I didn't need to make money. I don't need to make money. Some people believe that they need to make money. You don't need to do shit. Well, but some people may need to. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I can't talk about anyone else's life except for my own. And for myself, going back to the Tiferet of Gevurah, I have to have enough compassion for myself before I can give compassion to anybody else. Thank you, Hashem. I just thought of that too. If I'm capable of giving compassion to those people, that means I have it for myself. Which is why I don't beat myself up about anything. Why would I beat myself up? I don't do that shit no more. I used to beat myself up, like literally. Literally, I would punch myself in the face. I would come back here and punch trees just to make it hurt. Because I get mad when I get hurt. I don't like pain. And I had to feel that anger and feel that fucking fear. Not like a fucking baby and stuff that shit down. No, you gotta feel that shit. That's why I laughed at Tweezy yesterday when she's like, oh, you gotta feel things. Yeah, baby girl, let me tell you about feeling shit. Can you see the scars on my knuckles? They kind of blend in now. From where I used to pound on trees until my fucking hands were dripping blood. Because rage needs to be dealt with. You can't control your emotions if you don't feel your emotions, if you don't understand your emotions. It's called emotional intelligence. But that goes, and as a man, that's something they don't teach you. There's no count to 10. No, pound your fucking fist into your goddamn face. Or go get into a fight and let someone else pound your fucking face in. At least when I do it to myself, I know my limits. Enough is enough. We got a bunch of soft boys. Like, and that's another thing I was going on about. Like, I was judging my brother and my brother-in-law and my stepfather. Like, I was judging them before, saying all the ladies they're not happy with the men. But because I'm the only one that listens to them, they take it out on me sometimes. When it's like, you don't even know what I do all day. You don't know all the shit that I gotta put myself through. And right now, that's not really even an excuse anymore because I already did all that. Right now, I'm just preparing for the next year. I'm getting all my ducks in a row. Like, I'm going on vacation. What the fuck are you guys talking about? And my vacation for the next year, I got to do what's called the 7 years of reflection. Right? Remember, I'm talking about shepherding 2018, Derek, into the future? Well, I have to guide myself. I'm serving as the spiritual guide. My future self is my spirit guide. So imagine that the past is happening right now. That 2018, there's a version of Derek that I just told you about, who I'm thinking about right now, and I am the motivation for him because he hasn't fully found God the way that I have. He doesn't know God like I do. So he can't think the way that I do. So I have to go back and put myself into the past mentally and emotionally, reliving the past. Do you understand what that means? Reliving the past? I have to go back and relive the past so that I can reevaluate it with the eyes that I have today, with the insights that I have today, because I know what comes tomorrow. Back then, and that's a good point. In 2018, I didn't know what tomorrow was bringing. Now I do. I'm 7 years in the future. I know what happens tomorrow. Not only do I know what happens tomorrow, I know what happened the day after. I know what happened the month after. I know what happened the year after. See, right now, 2018, April 23rd, Derek had no fucking clue that in 2 weeks, his wife was leaving him. He didn't know that 2 weeks from right this moment, whatever he's doing, he's starting to recognize, he's been taking brain force. He's been taking brain force and he's been doing a lot of like esoteric research. Learning about astrotheology, studying the work of Mark Passio and, what's his name? Bonacci? The Australian guy, Bonacci. He makes fun of people for thinking that the earth is a globe. Globe-tards, he calls them. Not Antonio. Whatever, the astrotheology guy. I can see his face. He likes etymology. I was also reading the Kabbalion. I got the Kabbalion because I was looking for a book on Kabbalah. And the reason I even went looking for a book on Kabbalah was because I was doing an experiment with my intuition. And anytime my intuition told me that I had to do something, I would go and do it. And one particular day, it said to go to Barnes & Noble because there was something I needed to find there. And I rounded the family up and said, hey, let's go to Barnes & Noble. And I went looking for a book on the Kabbalah, but then I saw the Kabbalion. I went and I took the book out because I thought that's what it would be. But as soon as I looked at the cover of the book, I saw a little image of Hermes Trismegistus. And the only reason that I knew that was Hermes Trismegistus was because about a month or two prior, I had been watching a workshop by Mark Passio and demystifying the occult. And one of his slides for his presentation was a picture of Hermes Trismegistus, and it was the same picture. And I went, I know that guy. I know this guy. That's Hermes. This is the guy from Mark's video. So I opened the book expecting to find something on Kabbalah, but instead I found the 7 Hermetic Principles. So right now in 2018, I still haven't even finished the Kabbalion yet. I'm still fucking working through it. It's not going to be for another, 1, 2, 3. It's not going to be for another 3 months until something clicks inside my head. Because I still have a job. That's another thing. I still have a career, a 13-year career that I'm like trying to get the fuck out of. I'm trying to figure out a way to get out of this career. And when I made the vow with you, I said, give me a reason to believe in you, and I'm all yours. And then that's where I had the intention that I wanted to spend my life, because I had just been getting into the occult. I'd just been getting into magic. I just learned about, I was getting interested in understanding astrology and tarot. I wanted to understand the mechanics behind them, how they worked and why they worked, because they weren't I knew they weren't 100% bullshit. Then there was the Victor Odo video that explained to me what a spiritual awakening was and the signs of a spiritual awakening. And I remember thinking while I'm watching this, that was in February. That was right after the thing with when I found out that my wife had a private Facebook account. Right? The Victor Odo video was explaining the symptoms of a spiritual awakening. And I remember thinking while I'm watching this, I'm like, this dude, he's talking about my whole life. My whole life's been like this. This isn't new. This isn't something I just woke up to. This has literally been happening my entire life. But no one's ever laid it down like that before. I've never even told anyone about this shit. And this fucking guy, and the video was from a year prior. So it's like, this fucking guy is talking about my life. He never met me. I never told no one anything about this shit. But he's fucking telling me exactly what I already know. How the fuck? I never heard of a spiritual awakening before. My fucking life is a spiritual awakening. Ever since I was a fucking kid. But that's because I died. Well, we don't know for certain if I died. But I came as close to death as an 8-month-old can get. We'll put it like that. So my first near-death experience was when I was 8 weeks old. About 8 weeks old. So if you put any kind of value onto an experience like that for an 8-week-old, that's good. So like if an adult goes through a near-death experience or a child goes through a near-death experience, that's one thing. We kind of heard stories, but what happens if an infant goes through a near-death experience? Like what is that? What the hell is that? I don't know, because I've been talking to God since I was a kid. I just didn't realize it was God. Part of me questioned, like, where... I just thought that the voice in my head was just a voice in my head. I didn't know that the voice in my head was a messenger, was the mouth, was the mouthpiece that God used. It wouldn't be until much later that I would learn these things. Like, I was getting visions of my ancestry to the Nephilim. I literally was getting visions of ancestry linking me to Nephilim before I even knew what a Nephilim was. I didn't read the Bible until I was 43. I didn't learn what a Nephilim was until I was 37. But when I was just recently thinking back on this, and I had a flashback to that moment, and I remember the voice telling me that I had poisoned blood. This was the day that I was 12. This was the day that I set the intention that when I was 30, I was going to kill myself so that I don't have any children, because I want to cut my bloodline off. My bloodline has to be cut off with me. And that was the message that was coming through. Don't worry about your sister, because if your sister has children, she has to have children, she has to get married to another man, and those kids will belong to him. They won't necessarily be of the bloodline, necessarily. They'll be of his bloodline, not ours. Then, because I had poison in my blood, that's what it said. I had poisonous blood, which is why I always felt depressed and why I always felt bad about life and why my life was always so shitty. And why I was so unhappy with everything and myself from such an early age. But what it showed me was the poison in my blood was ancestral, and it came from the people before the people, before the people, before the people, before the people, before the people. And it was telling me that I had ancestors who were winged people. That's what it told me. It showed me them fighting with each other. And the poison in my blood came from them. But it was my duty to kill myself before I had children so that I don't put the curse that's on me onto them. And the only way to kill my bloodline, because I'm my father's only son, the only way to kill my bloodline was to kill myself before having children. But I had children. I had a child. Mind you, a misbegotten child, but out of wedlock. But you were married. Yeah, we got married when he was 3. We lived together prior. Fast forward. The Kabbalion. Right, so we'll get back to that. The Kabbalion, it's bouncing back into my head. That day, I opened a book because I noticed a picture of Hermes Trismegistus. Then when I opened a book, I saw the table of contents, and it was listing the 7 Hermetic principles. The principle of mentalism, correspondence, causality, vibration, rhythm, polarity, gender, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, causality, polarity, rhythm, and gender. Yeah. But what was interesting about that? Was I remember because I used to have a hard time sleeping, and at this point I cut the drinking out of my life. I used to drink a lot. All the time I used to drink. I'm getting tired of actually talking about that. Why did you drink? Because I hated my life. Well, it wasn't just that I hated my life, because I loved drinking. I just loved drinking. So it was a twofold thing. I had been doing drugs, hard drugs and alcohol since I was 15 years old. So it was a habit. Because the drinking would help me clear the static out of my head. The drugs would help me expand my thinking. Like, it wasn't just like I was escaping. It was just because I liked doing drugs. I remember the first time drugs came into my life. I was there. Okay, let me try it out. Let me see what happens. People say don't do this, don't do that, but I want to see for myself. I want to see what it's like. And so I did. So fuck off. And when it comes to the drinking, well, it's my fucking life. Don't tell me what I can and can't do, what I should and shouldn't do. I know what's best for me. If it wasn't good for me, I wouldn't do it. I don't give a fuck about what happened to this one. I don't give a fuck what happened to that one. I don't give a fuck about this guy or that lady. I don't give a shit about any of their experiences, because their experience is not my experience. Yeah, I can see where they're all fuck-ups. I can see it, but that's not what I'm doing. You feel me? What I was doing was, yeah, and by the way, my life didn't fall apart until after I stopped drinking. Until after I stopped drinking. That's when my life fell apart. But my life fell apart so that it could be rebuilt again. How long does it take to rebuild a life? I've had my sister ask me this question once, like, well, how long does it take to do that? How long is it taking you? It's gonna take me as long as it fucking takes. That's as long as it's gonna take. I've been at this for 7 fucking years. For 7 fucking years, I've been disciplined. I fucking had enough fucking compassion for myself and love for myself and love for what I do that I'm not just fucking giving up on it. Fuck you guys. I've been where you're at and I don't like it. I left. I cut it off and said no more. I drew the fucking line in the sand for myself and went, no, I'm not crossing that. Fuck you. If you don't like it, suck my dick. And people don't like it, suck my dick. Slowly, so I enjoy it too. But at this point with the Kabbalion, because now that I'm getting into like the occult and magic, learning about astrology, just learning the fundamentals of astrology, learning the symbols, and the same thing with tarot. What I found was that part of my fucking brain, that part of my mind that was constantly depressed and bored and just didn't want to live anymore, it had something interesting to think about. It had something interesting to think about for once in my entire life, and I loved it. And when I went to bed at night, I was no longer praying that you kill me in my sleep, but I was actually excited. I was excited to wake up in the morning so I can continue reading and researching and studying all of these things because of how fascinating they were. The intellectual aspect of my soul was finally being fed. And I was finally learning to be happy. But I noticed that the more happiness that I was feeling for myself and my life, the less happy that everyone else around me was becoming. Familiar story. I know I'm not the only one who's noticed that one before. That the better things start to look for me, the angrier that everybody else gets, the more resentful that everyone else gets. Because it's not fair. See, it's not fair that I'm happy, but you're not happy. Because of how unhappy I made you. But I didn't do anything to you. You did it to you. You're the one who said yes. You're the one who did this. You're the one who did that. I don't know what that means. You know what that means. I'm more occupied with my own experience. Well, maybe if you were this occupied with your own son. My son didn't need me to be occupied with him like that. And he expressed interest in what I was doing. And I expressed interest in his interest. And I tried to include him. But due to circumstances, he was pulled away. Because his mother didn't want him spending so much time with me. My belief is that because I didn't want her, she was going to punish me by taking him away from me. But I'm the type of person, all right, go ahead. It's not me that you're hurting. Retaliation doesn't work against me. Especially now, because I can look back on my experience and recognize you in the experience, just like with Joseph. All that bullshit that Joseph had to go through for 22 years, being sold into slavery, being a slave, being thrown into prison. He was in prison for 10 fucking years. At least. He didn't see his family for 22 years. He was estranged from his family, who thought he was dead. But when he finally was reunited with the people who put him in that position in the first place, he had such clarity that he went, it wasn't you who sent me here, it was God. Look at all these people that got saved because of that. The wisdom and the understanding, the fish and the bread that I'm passing out through these videos, these will live on for some time. They're timeless. So anyone who comes to them in the future, it's already done. I already did the work. Eventually someone sees this, then they show it to somebody, then they show it to somebody, then they show it to somebody, then they show it to somebody. Why? Because I said something in here that's really important to you, which is why you're still around, which is why you haven't turned it off yet. What I was saying about doing greater things than Jesus, yeah. This is the type of shit that he was doing. Over the 33 years of his life, he found practical application for all of the teachings that he had learned from Torah, and he went back and he was teaching the people how to see things in a new light. Transmuting water into wine isn't literally turning water into wine. It's showing people a different perspective on something. Grape water is wine. Wine is the blood of the grape. See, he was taking the old teachings, because by his time, the Torah was already 1,000 years old, a little over 1,000 years old. The same shit over and over and over again. This guy's giving something new, something fresh, something that the people hadn't seen before. The Gospels are to be read allegorically and literally at the same time. Yeah, he was turning water into wine. And yeah, he fed 5,000 people. He fed 5,000 people with a couple pieces of bread and fish. You are the king of the Jews. Yeah, 5,000 people with a couple pieces of bread and fucking fish, but not in the way that you think. Not in the way that you want it to be. Yeah, it doesn't make sense the way that you want it to be. Fish and bread. Souls don't eat fish and bread. Souls eat soul food. Bread represents understanding. Fish represents wisdom. He had a level of understanding and insight on things that could only come from God. Obviously, he wasn't the Messiah because he didn't do the things that the Messiah is supposed to do. It's very simple. But he carried the spark of this Messiah within him. Just like Moses was the sum of all of the prophets and patriarchs that came before him, all of the shepherds that came before him, so too was Yeshua Rabbeinu. So too was the Prophet Muhammad. So too am I. Just like Rabbi Zolman said about the sparks of Moses manifesting within the sages within every generation. You have to read and you have to study in order to awaken those sparks, in order to find them within yourself. That's why I study my Torah, I study my Tanakh, I study my prophets, I study my Gospels. That's why I study my Quran, because I'm finding the sparks within them and raising them back up to God. I'm seeing why God needed me to find these books and to read these books and be on the adventures that I've been on. It didn't start off like this. It started off with the occult. It started off with a desire and an intention to prove the existence of God. And to spend the rest of my life teaching all of the things that I was learning, to become so proficient in these areas of study that I would be able to explain them to even the most layest of layperson. But first I have to come to understand them myself, which is why when I study things, when I study Aristotle, when I study Torah, when I study the Quran, when I study Tanya, when I study the Gospels, when I study astrology, I'm not learning it so that I can understand it. I'm not learning it so I can memorize it. I'm learning it so I can understand it. But I can only understand it by applying the insights and the wisdom to my own life experiences. Now, I have a hard enough time remembering shit prior to 2018. Not that I don't remember, but everything up until 2018, I'm good. I'm good. I have it all reconciled. Are there little things here and there that pop up? Sure. That's fine. That's normal. But right now, my main priority is what was going on at this exact moment in 2018. This way, I can think back to those times and see what I couldn't see back then. I couldn't see the future. Now I can see the future. Meaning I could see the future in relation to my past self. As I said, on this day in 2018, I did not know what was going to happen in 2 weeks. I do now. I know that in 2 weeks from right now is the 7th anniversary of the day that my wife walked out. I didn't know that then. I was still shitting my pants going, I don't know what the fuck tomorrow brings. All I know is I was starting to enjoy what I was doing. I was enjoying learning because it was opening me up to new possibilities that I had never considered before. Or even, it was opening me up to possibilities that I once thought were impossible. And that was a big thing. Because everything I was learning, I was picking up on really quickly. Especially when it came to studying the Kabbalion, which I was doing every night. I would get high before bed. I would smoke some pot. Just a little bit. I take 2 hits and I'm good. I take 2 hits of pot. And then right before bed, get my book and then I'd start reading. Because it opened up my mind to a point where I can recognize everything that's in the Kabbalion and go, holy shit. I know exactly what it's fucking talking about. And that was one of the wild things about that book, is because some of the concepts being presented were relative to deep thoughts that I used to have when I was a kid and growing up. Why are my thoughts in this book that was written 100 years ago? Why is it that I know some of this stuff already? But that has been the journey over these past 7 years. The more that I learn, the more that I realize, like, it's not that I'm learning anything new. I already knew this. But I've just never seen it presented in this way. It's somebody's actually encapsulating it. And that was the big thing with the Kabbalion, was that for me, it was the quantifying of these ideas, that they were being given names. I know how to think that way. It's just I never thought that it was. I didn't know that there was a fucking process to it. And like I said, I don't know at this point in 2018. I don't know right now in 2018. I don't know that in 3 months I'm going to leave my job because my job is taking up too much of my time. Driving 10 hours a week, being in the office for at least 8 hours a day, that's 50 hours a week that's not going towards this other work of mine. And if I want to be independent and not under someone else's thumb, I have to choose, am I going to stay with the company, or am I going to stay with this company and my career, or am I going to follow my own path? This doesn't feel good. This feels right. This is scary. And I remember the days leading up to, or the month leading up to me quitting, I recognize I am walking a tightrope right now. My job, this job is a safety net. If I have a safety net, I'm not going to go all in like I need to. I need to allow myself the opportunity to fail. So when I quit, when I quit, it was perfectly timed because the job gave me an opportunity to. They crossed a boundary. I don't tell people what my boundaries are. Because my boundaries, that's my business. That's not your business. Don't worry about me. If you cross a boundary with me, it's because you did it on purpose. No one accidentally crosses a boundary. It just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You could doctor it up, you could pretty it up and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yo, you did. You did mean to do it because you wanted to see what would happen. You wanted to see how I would respond. I know how it works. I'm not fucking stupid. I used to read cards for people with the intention of helping people dig into their past wounds. Like Teresa, that was the thing too. It's like Teresa has no idea what I used to do. She knows what I do now, but she doesn't know what led up to this. She doesn't know shit. But then again, neither does my family. My family doesn't know shit. When I was reading cards for people in 2018, how many people did I read cards for? And what was the motivation? What was the motivation? Do you know? I do. I know exactly what the motivation was. Like, that's not even a fucking question for me. I know exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it. And it's not that it blew up in my face, but more that I set a fucking timer. It blew up on it. So you fucking blew it up. You blew up my life. But that was the thing, is you needed me to lose my life so I could find it. So I can't fail because I already did. But now that I could see the failure as a success, I just neutralized the failure. And I'm talking about now we're getting into 2018, or the end of the summer of 2018, which is when my life looked like a fucking real pile of shit. It was really fucked up. But not in the traditional sense. It was fucked up looking from a very unconventional sense, because I had a tarot reader who moved in with me. I had a witch friend. I had a guy that I was working with that could channel spirits. I was working with demons. I had just did a fucking exorcism in the woods with my father's ashes. That I used my father's ashes as a magical circle to do an exorcism on myself. So, when I say my life was fucked up, no, my life was fucking awesome. It was in no way, it was fucked up in the sense that I had expected that by the end of the summer I was going to be making a shit ton of money reading cards because of how quickly I was able to do it. I did 150 readings for people from all around the world. Unique readings, not counting myself. I was also reading for myself. But again, I wasn't predicting the future. I'm not trying to forecast the future. I used to even say to people were like, well, what's going to happen? It's not about what's going to happen. It's what's holding you back from having it happen, from doing it. I was taking people on spiritual, inner quests within themselves. And even with myself, like the demons were internalized. I wasn't invoking demons, like invoking demons. No. And well, yes, in other people. I was drawing out the demons within other people. but I was also doing it with myself. And the more experience I was getting with myself, I would then apply those same methods to when I was working with clients. And every client I worked with, I never fucking charged. I did it all for free. I did all of it for free. So even if there's those detractors out there that say, well, all those people that are ripoffs, not me, because I never charged anyone. It wasn't until later that I started charging people, but I didn't like it. It felt dirty. And plus, I didn't really like the people that I was working with. And something that you taught me specifically is like, it depends on the intention. If you're doing it for money, if you're doing it for money, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. And that was a big part of the 2018 saga, was learning how to detach from money. To get into that trillionaire mindset while having only 27 cents in your bank account. I walk around like I got the biggest dick in the world because, as far as I'm concerned, I do. Now, some people would say, like, I take things too seriously. It's my life. I can't expect anyone to take me any more serious than I don't take myself. And that goes for anybody. If you don't take your life seriously, nobody's going to take your life more seriously than you are. So either take it seriously or don't. And what does that even mean? Don't take your life too seriously. Why? The difference between the people who work for people and the people who employ people is that one of them takes their life more seriously than the other. Because if you took your life as seriously as they did, you would be doing more than what they are. So get the fuck out of here. Well, I don't take my life seriously. I don't take it too seriously. Why? You only live once. That's not what I believe. This is not my first time. This is not my first rodeo. And it sure as shit ain't gonna be my last rodeo either. I can't wait for the next one. That's the one where we're really gonna have fun. And now, mind you, at the same time, reincarnation, resurrection also happens in one particular life. How many times I've been reincarnated in this life? This version of me, this is like Derek's version 6.66. See, something I learned about magic way back, magic with a K, is that it's not about making things happen necessarily. It's about being a co-creator. It's about being a co-creator of your own reality within the boundaries of the reality of the primary creator. You, my Lord, God. Hashem, creator of the universe, God of Abraham, God of my father and my father's fathers. Because if we can demonstrate to you that we're worthy of this thing that we want, you'll give us more of the resources that we need to bring it into manifestation. But at the same time, more importantly, it isn't necessarily about what I want, it's about what you want. God. It's what you want, or what you already have planned. Do I want what you want, or do I want what I want? Because you could see it from a higher perspective than me. I might just want macaroni and cheese for dinner, but you might have a plan where I'm going to the buffet. I'd rather go to the buffet than fucking macaroni and cheese. Shit. I want to get laid, but you might have a plan where I'm making sweet ass love to the woman of my dreams with an assortment of exotic oils and spices. Yeah, I want what you want. I want for me what you want for me. Because I've learned through life experience that when I try to make things happen, my life sucks. I suck at creating life for myself. I need help. I can't do it on my own, which I don't do it alone. Not anymore. And I say not anymore, but that's because I can see how you've been there the whole time. It hasn't ever once been me by myself. I made it seem that way to myself. I believed that it was that way because I couldn't believe that you were the one I couldn't believe that anything in my life was actually good or for my benefit. I couldn't get my head around that. But now, with you by my side, or me by your side, vice versa, we can look back into the past and go, okay, I can see why that had to happen. That makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to those books, those are the real intimate details of the past 7 years. So once we have shepherded 2018 Derek to the point where we started writing and keeping track of life, we don't have to worry about anything prior to that ever again. Because we will have reconciled up until that point, the entirety of 38 years. We have reconciled it. And the only thing left to reconcile are the past 7 years, all of which are written down and organized with scrupulous intent. Which is dope as fuck. Yeah. And I can't do that with anybody else. I can only do it with you. Because nobody else is going to be able to understand it like you and I can. Because you're teaching me how to view my life from your perspective. Which is a big deal because if I can view my life from your perspective, then I have a better idea of what it's like to be God. But only my share of God, because I don't believe that I have the mental capacity to be the overseer of the whole of humanity. I don't know if I have that level to see everything work, that web. But as long as I can see it for myself, then I can trust that it's the same thing for everybody else. But I'm more aware of it. Because I can see my own. And then that way, moving forward, once we get through with the 7 years of reflection, once we have everything reconciled up to this point, and that'll only take a couple months. I don't expect it to take more than a year to do the 7 years of reflection. I would argue that once we have the 7 years of reflection under our belt, it's just forward moving from there. There's no reason to come back to anything. And that's why advice like, just let it go, this, that, you gotta do this, you gotta do... No, you have to do that. You have to do that. But look at how well it's been serving you. Like, you can give me life advice and you can tell me how to do this and how to do that, but how is that advice working out for you? Are you living your best life possible? No. And you already know it. You say it all the time. You're not happy, so why are you giving me unhappy people advice? Why aren't you asking me for advice? How that for a change? Oh, because I don't have a bank, my bank account doesn't have the proper threshold. Because if you knew what you were doing, then why don't you have money? What are you talking about? I just bought 4 packs of cigarettes with $13. Who the fuck else knows how to buy 13 packs of, or 4 packs of cigarettes with $13? Huh? Exactly. It's because I know what the fuck I'm doing. I have. Oh, well, I hope so. Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't take that into consideration. The extra fucking 50 cents. Well, I mean, that's all right. I'm not worried about it. Well, and that's the other thing too, is people see me as a leech. People see me as a leech, and they don't want a leech in their life. They don't want another leech in their life because they're leeches. Right? Because if I had, and I know this, the only language that people, the only God that people respect is money. If I had more money and I talked the way that I do, trust me, little Miss Kim, she'd be bouncing up and down on my face. That's my belief. Because people are shallow, like that. Like someone like Donald Trump, nobody knows anything about Donald Trump. They just know he's got a bunch of money, even the people who support him. And the same thing with Elon Musk. It's like he's got the money. If you took the money away from him, everyone would forget his name. The people who do trust him only trust him because he's got money. Like, do you see the problem with that? Does that make sense? I place God above money. I place money below me. You need money. I don't need it. Because even if we turn off the money faucet, and everybody had to fucking like figure out how to survive without money, God forbid. If people had to figure out how to survive without money, I'd be good. I'd be so fucking good. Oh, is that the new famine that's coming? The money famine? The worldwide money famine? Derek gets to be the Joseph. Oh, delish. And I won't even have to do anything, it's just through this. Because I'm already doing the work now. See, I would suspect that this channel will probably blow up. What do you say? In another 7 years? People watching this shit now 7 years from now. And by then, I don't even know where the fuck you and me will be. Maybe raising a family somewhere. In a fucking castle. Well, how the fuck did this happen? It's all on YouTube, go watch it. Yeah. The real Lev Muad'Dib. See, I don't need disciples. I have myself. I am my disciples. Because I am my main target audience. Because I cannot give to anyone what I can't give to myself. And I can't receive from God what I'm not willing to let go of. Yeah, like I can't even let go of Miss Kim. You're showing me kicking her out of the group, and then it's just me. Right, I know, I can feel the resistance in there. I'll do it. It's not gonna be easy though. But I have to cut the cord on this one. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, do I want to get rid of the group though? I mean, I might. That might not be the worst idea. Oh, fuck. Hashem, can you give me... Well, the only reason I'm saying that is because of all the work that I put into the group. Start my own group. Right. And, well, I mean, that too is like, if I get rid of that group, she's gone. I have no connection to her. But maybe that's what I need. Maybe I just need to prove to myself that I can live without her. And it's not like she's there. That's what I'm saying. It's like... She ain't even there. So we just start the group from scratch? Yeah, we could do that. Leave money out of it. Don't worry about the money. You take care of the money. It's just my own place without her. Okay. Do you think that'll work? It'll work better than what we got going on now. You're right. Okay. All right. Hey, fuck it. You know better than me. I put it out there. If I don't see your face by the end of the year, then this group is going away. Just assume that we didn't see her face. Oop. All right, cool. All right. I like that. I really do. I'm wondering if there's a way that we can have a public group, but you can't join it unless I approve it. I can do that. This way people could see it, but they can't join it. Yeah? Or do I keep it private? I don't know. I guess ditch this little one who's like dead weight. This is exactly what What's-Her-Face was saying last night. Don't even worry about this. This thing is dead in the water. Okay. I can feel that. Third Temple Institute. And it's just for me. But I have to delete the Kim group. Oh, all that work. Oh, fuck, dude. Now it's just like really, like, oh my God, am I willing to part with it all? Am I ever gonna go back and read it? No. All right, there you go. Oh, and think of it like this too. I want you to consider, this is a message coming straight from God. Think of it like a burning ritual, right? You write out intentions, you write out a thing, you write out a letter to somebody that you want to talk to, and then you burn it. And then you burn it. Yeah. You're not even an active member. You gotta work for it. Right. Give this bitch something to work for. Yeah. After that. But at the same time, then I don't have to worry about her at all. I know, but I loved all those insights. Love all that work that I do in there. It's like fucking amazing. I'm making excuses. Try to imagine there's another Kim waiting for me. Yeah. But I already had that with the fucking toxic order group. The toxic order, aka, or I love that. I do love that, by the way. The toxic order LLC or Third Temple Yeshiva. And build it first, build it and they will come. Professionals. Alright. Aw, man, this is gonna be so sad. Do I wanna cry? Well, you know, I've been in love with this Miss Kim for years, and she won't even give me the time of day. Opinions are less than toilet paper in value. Aw, dude. Right, I know. I was even thinking about this last night. I was writing about this because the thought came to me. Why has she never given me a shot? Maybe because I'm too thirsty? How the hell am I still thirsty, though? I've been fucking feeding off this idiot's energy for fucking years. Maybe that's the problem. Oh, shit. I think I get it. Thank you, Hashem. For what? For you just made me realize. I didn't even pick up on this until just now. She's taking up space without actually taking up space. I've never kind of clicked it together like that. She's taking up space where somebody else could be in that space. You know what I mean? I have to, like, completely detach from her. Should I, like, unfriend her, too? Huh? Yeah, what am I holding on to? I'm only friends with her because I want something from her. Her vagina, her womb. But she's not willing to give me her womb. So why don't I... So she's getting in the way of someone who wants to give me my womb. So I gotta get rid of her. But what if it ends up being her, though? What if I get rid of her and then she goes, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Well, what do you mean? Because she's not really my friend. Because we're not really friends. You don't talk to me. You don't do anything with me. Like, what am I keeping you around for? You're dead weight. Yeah. Thank you, Hashem. What the hell do I need you for? I got God. And you're like an ungodly lady. So what I have to recognize is that God has somebody literally in line. It's like shark teeth. You know what I mean? And I'm holding on to this idea of this person that doesn't even exist. Right. Thank you, Hashem. See, now this is the type of shit. This is the type of shit that you can't pay for this. You can't. That's why I have to give it away for free, because it's like Yeshua Rabbeinu said, to his disciples, you learned this stuff for free, so you have to give it out for free. You can't. God will take care of you. Don't worry about it. This is kind of scary, but necessary. Why did you unfriend me? Because we're not friends. I wasn't under the impression that my friendship actually meant that much to you. Alright, okay, I can see that. I hit that like that. Oh, Lord, you're a fucking genius. Of course, why wouldn't you be? Arky friend. That's toothless. Like the dragon. You're at 2 hours and 60 minutes. How much is left on this? 29 minutes? 29%. Not minutes, percent. Alright. Alright, so we're like pretty good. I'm gonna delete the group. Oh. I have to unfriend Kim. Permanently. Like for... No. God. What I'm afraid of is she's gonna notice and then she's gonna say something. And then what? I just have to explain why I did it. Well, you're like dead weight. I had to cut you off. I'm doing an experiment. Well, I figured because like I'm holding on to you, but if I cut you off, then that opens the door for someone else to come in. You know? That makes sense. Thank you, Hashem. I love you.